The continued fall in the inflation figures does not come as a surprise to analysts who had long predicted Nigeria was going to see inflation figures come down this year. But where the figure would eventually settle at by the end of the year is what there's no unanimity on. The government is projecting 12.4%.
It might be difficult, but you can't read it out. Given what we saw in the month of February, where we saw an 80 basis point, like I mentioned earlier, decline, disinflation. So if that trend continues, we could achieve the 12.4%. But we must recognize the fact that towards the end of this year, the current trend of disinflation may stall, because you should expect that there will be heightened liquidity, naira liquidity in the economy, which could lead to an uptick in inflation.
One very important aspect of the latest inflation figures that people want to see a dramatic reduction in is the food sub-index. The index shows food inflation at 17.59%, a decrease from 18.92% recorded in January 2017. It, however, shows increases in some main food prices. It's the area of food prices that people on the street are seriously concerned about. They want to see a drastic reduction in food prices, and that is only when this whole issue of the decline in inflation can begin to make real sense to them.
Saying that inflation has actually come down, I have not seen the reflection. It's not reflecting. Things are on the high side.
It is not truly evident in the price of things in the market. Just like what things were sold before is still what is being sold now.
With overall inflation at 14.3%, attention will now begin to shift to the Central Bank of Nigeria to see if its Monetary Policy Committee would cut down on interest rates, something that local manufacturers and investors have long been pushing for.
If this trend continues, like the CBN governor had alluded to, one would expect that in subsequent meetings, the Monetary Policy Committee members will weigh in favor of reducing the monetary policy rate, because we're not dealing with a 14.33% inflation rate. The monetary policy rate is 14%. So if monetary rate should, if inflation should move that materially below the monetary policy rate, and given the current pressure on the monetary authorities to lower interest rates, improve liquidity so as to allow for credit to the private sector and stimulate economic growth, one would believe that the monetary authorities are likely going to move in that direction.
For now, everything remains a matter of wait and see. Wait to see how low the inflation rate would come down to before it stalls, and what the central bank would do to interest rates in the face of falling inflation figures. Deji Badmo, CGTN, Lagos, Nigeria.